Welcome back to Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Please subscribe if you're enjoying these videos and hit the like button. Add any comments you like, and if you'd like to know when these videos are being posted, turn on the notifications so that you'll get a heads up. Today, I'm talking about the episode Day of Infamy. This was another really historic moment that the Waltons addressed on the series. The points of realism in this episode I was fascinated by. Us sitting around the radio and recognizing that that was really the way people were able to get news in the fastest fashion. We didn't have TV, we didn't have telephones everywhere, but even when we were filming the Waltons, we didn't have internet yet, so I wasn't used to that. But to think that people had to wait so long to gather information if it was going to come through traditional newspapers or newsreels. So the radio was the lifeline for people to get updates on important events. And those weren't always immediate either. But in this episode, of course, we were, just glued to that radio for news about what was happening. We used the actual radio broadcast of President Roosevelt talking about the attack on Pearl Harbor.
The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked.
Those pieces of realism, I thought, were part of what made the Waltons so authentic, that we didn't invent those things, we didn't fictionalize those points, and they added to creating a real sense that we were there in that time. These were ways in which I learned more about history than I ever had a chance to learn through textbooks or in history classes. So I really appreciated that additional education that I got through these things like this actual radio broadcast, which I certainly never listened to in school. So I felt very fortunate to have those insights, and through the writers and the research that they did about these time periods and these incidents, and then the additional research that I did at times about these particular incidents. So to this day, on December 7th, I remember this episode. I remember the impact of filming this episode, watching this episode, and feeling this connection to that moment in history. I felt that this episode did an amazing job of building the tension and the drama of what that must have been like for people waiting to hear more news. The way everything stopped, that you see people around their radios, that you see Ike and Corabeth listening to the radio in their store, and then Verdi coming to our house, and people wanting to hold together and lend support to each other during this very trying time. And I think that we still do that today in society, but in a slightly different fashion. And I think this really highlights the way in which that community relied on each other. Of course, for Mary Ellen, this was one of the most heartbreaking episodes. And personally, I really felt that as the character. I talked about this when I was speaking about the episode The Burnout, where in that moment when we were watching the fire around the house and knowing that members of our family were supposed to be in there, that it was very easy to play the emotion of that moment. And I found that the same with the ending of this particular episode. The combination of Jim Bob, David Harper, and the simplicity of his beautiful work when he shared with me what was in the telegram, that really moved me. And then the moments with Ellen, just unspoken, an exchange, and the history that the two of us had together, and everything that we had been through during the filming of the Waltons. there was this really in-depth exchange that we had unspoken in that moment that we both acknowledged, and I think was really visible in the work, and culminated by Ralph reading the letter that Curt gave to Grandma and hearing the beautiful words that were written to talk about each of the members of the family as if Curt had written that. And each of the things that was said was so true about the characters, and feeling them around me, and everybody sharing that moment and the emotion of that moment made it really impactful to film and very easy to experience the emotion of the moment. It had a truth to it that made it very easy to play that scene. And I think that when it was finished and edited together, it was an absolutely beautiful sequence, and one that still, when I watch it, even having filmed it, it moves me every time. And I'm just always so proud of the show. I'm so proud to have been a part of it, and the quality of it, and the performances that everybody gave week after week. You know, if you're going to be connected and associated with the show for your entire life, I'm just really glad that it's something that I'm proud to have been a part of. So thank you for sharing that with all of us and helping to keep it on the air for all these years. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons.